Hi, I'm Shé D'Montford. Nauli breath. A simple step-by-step instruction of how to do the Nauli breath, how it is beneficial for you, and what its deep spiritual implications are for you. Nauli breath is not just about doing cool, weird things with your stomach to impress your friends. Nauli breath has universal significance and, above and beyond that, can really rejuvenate you. Stay tuned and I'll explain how.
Nauli breath. Nauli breath is very much about counteracting the forces of the gravity of Mother Earth. When we are concerned about something that's very important, we say the situation is very grave. It's very interesting that the word grave and gravity come from the same root Latin. Yeah, so we don't want to be grave. We don't want our organs falling out of our body, getting ready to go back to this gravitational pull of our mother. We want to balance that gravitational pull with the gravitational pull of the sun. Right? The sun is 108 times bigger than the Earth. But if you take the diameter of the Earth end to end, it's also 108 times that diameter away from the Earth. So the gravitational forces of the sun are completely balanced with the gravitational forces of the Earth. We just give up to the Earth because we're on her and connected to her all the time. And it is astounding that we forget that this gravitational force of the sun, which is strong enough to hold the whole world in orbit around it, is actually strong enough to have an influence on us as well. It cannot not influence us. But we allow this downward pull to pull us, get us depressed, pull us down, let us die, let us go back to the womb of the mother. So with the Nauli breath, what we are actually doing is becoming aware of the pull of those two forces within our own body. It allows us to become very aware of this. If you stay in bed in the morning and you don't jump out of bed and do the sun gazing with us and do our other energizing techniques, they're not calisthenics, they're energetics that we're teaching you. We're teaching you how to not allow yourself to get run down, depressed, pulled back into Mother Earth. Bodybuilders used to have very, very flat, indented stomachs, but these days you see bodybuilders have a potty belly. I think depression has become so societal that most of us don't realize how much depression affects people. It affects most people in our society. And a physical example of that is when you see a potty belly. And I'm not talking about a little bit of belly fat. A little bit of belly fat doesn't hurt anybody, and about an inch of belly fat is probably the most healthy. Of course, if you get too much belly fat around where your organs are starting to get pressed inwards by that fat, where you can't get the circulation happening properly, the organs can no longer function, you're teetering on the edge of diabetes, you're going to have to do something about that if it becomes unhealthy. But an inch of body fat doesn't hurt anybody. Right? And it's unfortunately when you go on the internet and you have a look at the people demonstrating Nauli breath on the internet, most of them are undernourished, pencil-thin, skinny. Yes, I know everybody loves Audrey Hepburn, and she's very, very elegant, but a lot of people don't realize that Audrey Hepburn was actually very sick, and she had conditions arising from malnutrition and severe infections and parasite infections from when she was really young. Right? She had a very hard childhood, and those conditions continued through into her later life and eventually caused her to die very young. So we don't want people looking like Audrey Hepburn. We don't want you super, super skinny. That's not healthy. The rickshaw pullers were studied in Hong Kong, in Asia during the 80s, because during the 80s they were the 80s ideal of fitness. They were always active, they were always running, they ran more than a marathon every day, did it under load, they were very lean, and according to the fitness ideas of the time, they should have been living very, very long lives, but they weren't. They were all dying in their 40s, right? Or most of them in their late 30s. Why? Because they were completely exhausted, right? And they used up all their body energy, right? And they were also having trouble eating enough calories to maintain their physical organism. So we don't want to do that to yourself. You don't want to do either of those, because either of those will kill you, not let alone both together. We don't want to exhaust the physical organism. And so sometimes with your sun gazing, you know, with the self-love and the self-care, it's okay to lay in bed, right? Especially if it's a cold, wet, rainy day. It's not cold this morning. It's lovely and warm. I was just speaking to somebody from Europe, and they're having what they call the endless winter over there, and we're having an endless summer over here. It's not like autumn at all. I'm still very much in my summer gear. So what we do want to do is make sure that we have a nice balance, that we get up, we energize ourselves, make sure that we do enough physical activity to look after our physical body, but not enough so that it depletes us and runs us into the ground. To which I'm going to show people how to do Nauli laying down while they're still in bed of a morning, how they can do it sitting while they're at their computer screen, or sitting watching their TV, which is why we're sitting this morning instead of outside sun gazing, because a little thunderstorm has just run through, and it's not very pleasant doing sun gazing in a thunderstorm. It's just not, apart from the fact that there's no sun. All right, so Nauli breath is a technique. It's not a breathing technique, as in what we're doing is using our breath to pull the internal organs back up to where they should be within our body. Most of our internal organs should be up under our rib cage, not poking out, moving down towards Mother Earth and the ground, right? We want the internal organs to come back up. So the Nauli breath actually gives a suspension to that pull, so we can start to identify these two magnetic forces within our body. Right? We can become aware again of the magnetic pull of the sun, because we're actually feeling what it feels like if there's a vacuum for the organs to come back up into place, which gives the muscles that hold the organs. And we're not talking about our core, we're talking about these actual individual muscles that hold up your lungs. The diaphragm itself is a muscle, but it has muscles in support of it to hold it in place. Right? The liver, the kidney, the spleen, all of those sorts of things. Not only does Nauli breath put them back where they should be, gives them a bit of a break to go, oh, that's right. It's like being bent over all the time, then all of a sudden standing up straight. It also gives you the ability for those muscles to be able to tense up, and also to massage them as well, massage your internal organs, so that, I mean, when we go and get a massage, I had a brilliant massage this week. When you go and get a massage, it massages the steak, right, the meat inside your back, inside your limbs. But then the organs themselves do need a massage, but it has to be very, very gentle. All right, so enough chit chat. How do we do our Nauli breath if we're laying in bed? Well, first of all, most people when they lay in bed, right, lay in bed, and they're pretty supported. They've got the pillows, they feel pretty good. Yes. But the idea is to get the suction so that it will pull the organs back up in the body. Now you can try your Nauli breath like this. So the way we do our Nauli breath is outward breaths, right? So, and then hold your breath out, but allow the body to feel like it is about to breathe in while holding the air out. If that's a bit confusing, just follow what I do. So we want to get the maximum amount of oxygen out of our lungs, give our bodies lots of space, and then use that space to suck the organs back up into place. So if you're laying like this, propped up on your pillows, you can still do your Nauli breath. Just follow what I'm doing. Take 3 deep breaths. A little bit of a cough. Really focus on expelling the air and hold the breath out, and then allow that suction to come in. Feels like your belly button is moving towards your spine and your organs moving up. Holding the breath out. So that dipping inwards is not done with any abs. That is simply the suction. The suction pulling your organs back in place. But on this sort of angle, it is very hard for you to get much suction, and it's very hard for the organs to move very far. So what I recommend you do is, if you are laying in bed, that you just push your pillows to one side and lay as flat as possible. If you're going to do the gnarly breath laying down, get as flat as you possibly can. Do the same thing again, and really try and move it up this way. Breathe out and hold. Now, that's your gnarly breath laying down. And you can do that laying in bed. Before you get out of bed, it will certainly energize you for the day. Do 3 gnarly breaths laying down, and you'll be ready to tackle a day. You'll feel your hands will get warmer, your feet, like if it is a really cold morning and you do your gnarly breath, if your feet are cold and your fingers are cold, your nose are cold, you do 3 gnarly breaths, and all of a sudden your hands are warm, your feet are warm, and the maximum amount of oxygen has been absorbed, and it's stimulated your circulation. So it makes you far more energized to face the day. If you're not going to stand up and do your gnarly breath, right, the easiest way to do your gnarly breath while you're sitting down is to be as vertical as possible. So if you're going to do your gnarly breath sitting down, don't slump backwards like that, because your organs are all squished up and there's no room for them to move. What I want you to do is to sit up as vertical as possible. Hands on your knees, just the same as if we were doing our gnarly breath standing up. Again, same technique, 3 full breaths, and then hold it out and allow that suction to move up before you breathe in, and move your belly button back towards your spine. Alright, so you can see from the side that when you're sitting down, you still get a lot of vacuum in there, more than what you do when you're laying down. I have seen some gnarly teachers online trying to teach people to start by laying down. Starting laying down is not the best way to learn, because you don't really get good technique. The best way to do your gnarly is to do it the traditional way, which is standing up. Just let me tighten up my sarong here so we don't get a banned X-rated video, because I actually don't sleep in very much. I just have a sarong by my bed in case I need to grab it if there's an emergency. So alright, so what we're doing is, with our traditional gnarly breath, we bend right over, right, in horse stance. So that means toes turn inwards, knees bent, hands on your knees pointing inwards. Right, and you'll see the maximum amount of suction that we can get, and this is why this is the traditional and best way to do it. Now, other thing I want to show you is how to move your internal organs around with your gnarly breath. Now, I'll do this sitting down because the camera is angled for sitting, and then I'll do it up. Alright, so again, let me tuck my sarong so we don't get a bad rating. Alright, so do a gnarly breath, and then I'm going to get you to lean to one side, lean to the other, so you can feel the muscles moving around in your body. Right, so I'll move that down so you can see my tummy, hopefully. Right? You see that muscle ridge starts to move around. That's your muscles. Gently massage. And that's what they should be doing. That's what your abs are for. They're to hold things so that you can massage your internal organs. When they're scooped inwards, that's what your abs should be for. Right? So make sure you do feel your abs moving from side to side while you're doing your Nauli breath. Let's do that in our standing position as well. So I'll do it sort of semi-side on so you can see what's happening from the camera. Alright, so again with our Nauli, right, we're bending over. Our 3 out breaths, but what we're going to do is roll it around this time. I tell you what, Nauli breathing really does get me lovely and warm in the morning. It certainly wakes me up. It makes me feel wide awake. I become super aware of my environment. It makes my hearing, my sight better. You do feel a little bit lightheaded, right? But you've got maximum amount of oxygen entering your body, because when you hold your breath inwards and upwards like that, the body goes, okay, we better use up all the oxygen we can here. We need it. So it's really good for you on so many levels. The most important thing is it stops your internal organs falling out of your body so that you start to become more self-contained. It makes you aware of that pull of the sun. That's why it's good to do your Nauli breath when you're doing your sun gazing of the morning. So it really is a sun gazing technique. And when you use the Nauli, you can really pull that solar energy into your body as well. But above and beyond that, it's going to combat this epidemic of depression that's in the world at the moment. Right? If you start to feel down, if you suffer from depression, please stop whatever you're doing and take the time to do 3 Nauli breaths. Right? If you have a tummy, and there's no reason for you to have a tummy apart from having an inch of body fat, and an inch of body fat should not give you a tummy, then stop and make sure that you do a Nauli breath, 3 Nauli breaths a couple of times a day. Right? It's a 5-minute technique that's going to give you back your joy. Right? It takes away the gravity. Right? It takes away the feeling of being very grave. Right? So we want to allow ourselves to be lifted, which is what this does. And if you're doing your Nauli breath properly, as soon as you have done it, you feel lifted. And once you feel lifted, you have buoyancy to go through your day. Solar gazing techniques are all about restoring buoyancy to your life, so that you can float through your day. And if that starts to happen, what you are experiencing is joy. It is a shame and so sad that joy is not the common state of mankind. Is the state we should exist in? Why is the majority of mankind not existing in that? And I have a theory about that, and the theory is that it's got a lot to do with our media. Right? Our media pushes us down. This is everything from the news, it reports on everything to make us feel. And as soon as you see something on the news, it will hit you in the gut. It pulls from here. It takes this energy away. As well as, there's all the cops and robber shows on TV. There's all the horror movies, and they all suck, pull this energy out. Yeah, we feel stimulated because of the adrenaline for a minute, and then we spend the rest of the time getting around depressed. Right, switch off. Go outside, look at the sun if you can see the sun, do some Nauli breaths, and enjoy your life. Put the effort into putting the joy back into your life. I don't think people realize how much effort they put into taking the joy out of their life. It takes a lot of energy for us all to be dying and being dragged down into the earth with this gravity, feeling grave. Let's put some effort into joy. It's much easier to be joyful than it is to be grave and be depressed. Don't be moving towards your grave. Be moving towards the sun. Be moving towards your own immortality. Be moving towards your own joy. And you know what? If you do that, it's contagious. Go and spread an epidemic of joy in the world today. Go into your work joyful and see how many people react to your joy. It's why comedians get the big bucks. All right, my love, so every blessing on your journey. I love you. Enjoy your day. I certainly hope that I've helped you enjoy it, even though it's been a rainy, wet, thunderstormy morning and we haven't done our sun gazing. So you got the Nauli intensive instead. Excellent. All right, my love, so have a beautiful day. Enjoy it. Spread an epidemic of joy through your world today and through your own life. All right. Remember that you are loved. All right. I love you, and there is lots of love in the world for you. All right. Be joyful. Bye.